Alright, that's 4 more pounds of peaches, and they're just chunked without the pit now. I found that if you leave the skin on, it also gives the final product a nice peachy looking color, almost an orange. Whereas if you remove the skins, and I've seen a lot of recipes recommend that, then the color is a very faint yellow, almost clear really. So I think the darker yellow, almost yellow orange, is a great final product. And yeah, I've just rinsed these, took out the bad spots, any bruised spots, and removed the pits. So we'll go ahead and mash that up and add that to our bag. Got our peaches and a potato masher in this bucket. Make it nice and soupy. And we're going to pour it in our bag. Everything's been sterilized from the buckets to the bags. That is about 4 pounds worth. So we'll double that and move on to the next step. To make our syrup, we've got 100 ounces of water, which is roughly 3,000 milliliters, and 12.5 pounds of sugar. Alright, we've got our concoction in a 5-gallon bucket. Our pulp is inside this mylar bag, and we had stirred in the following ingredients. We've got acid blend. The recipe actually calls for just tartaric acid. This is the blend, 25 cc's of that, and nutrient for the yeast, looking at 25 cc's of that. Pectic enzyme, this is twice as much, 50 cc's. And then for the yeast, this batch I'm using 71B. You'd use a whole packet on that. That can do up to 6 gallons. We've got that rehydrating here in the jar. You just let that sit in some warm water and then add it to the bucket. Stir it all in nice and good, and then we'll check on it in 5 to 6 days. We'll strain it and go from there. So, to be clear about the directions and the quantities, the original recipe calls for 5 teaspoons of these two ingredients. Now, if you want to measure 5 single teaspoons, you can, but 5 teaspoons also is equivalent to 25 milliliters in water. So I just used a measuring spoon to measure 25 milliliters worth of space, essentially, of each ingredient. This one, again, was twice as much, so that one gets 50 milliliters or cc's of space. Looks like we got a good seal. Alright, we let that sit for 6 days, and now we're going to remove the pulp from the batch, and we'll just go ahead and rack it into a 5-gallon glass carboy. So this year I want to back sweeten it a little less. I think I over sweetened it because I was using the math of 5 gallons, but we've racked it a couple times, so there's not a true yield of 5 gallons in here. This year what I'm going to try is 2 cups of water with 2 pounds of white sugar and made that into a syrup. So that is hopefully going to get us an extra 20 points or so on the specific gravity scale. Okay, so we sweetened the wine. I ended up adding another batch of 2 pounds of sugar in 2 cups of water again, because I first took the measurement. It was 1.01 and it was dry. So I like my wines on the sweeter side. The last one I did of peach this last year was very much a dessert wine, and that was 1.044. So I added some more sugar this time, and it came out to be 1.042, so very close to the old one, and it's got a beautiful color. Now we're gonna give her the old taste test. Yeah, I think if that sits a couple months and it's cold, it's gonna be awesome. Okay, since we liked the flavor of our wine, we're gonna go ahead and clear it and then bottle it. You don't have to clear it. Some people, if you're giving away bottles, though, it looks nicer. There won't be as much sediment in there. So we're going to be using Sparkaloid clearing or fining agent, and the directions are to dissolve 1 tablespoon in 1 cup of boiling water for 5 minutes. Add it to your mixture of up to 6 gallons. Wait for about a week, and then you can go ahead and bottle. Alright, so we let our carboy settle here for about 2 weeks at this angle. And one thing that I noticed that's pretty cool is, yes, it's very clear, but if we look down here underneath, there's actually sediment here. And because the bottom of the carboy is convex, there's actually sediment here. That right there is glass. There's very, very little sediment on that. So when I use my siphon, I'll try to keep the tip of that right in the clean area. For today, we're going to actually siphon this twice. The first siphon is just to get all of the good yield into our bucket and to avoid siphoning up any of the lees or the sediment at the bottom. That'll keep our final bottle from the bucket into the bottles nice and clean. And we won't have to worry about things moving or stirring up the sediment at the bottom. Okay, so this is the remaining waste with the sediment in it, and as you can see here, this side of the container is now pretty clear. What happened is, as the level went below that line where the sediment was out of solution, it almost slid down into the bottom section, which is fine. This is still pretty good. For instance, if we were to keep this flat here, you can actually see the center point right there. I don't think I've ever been able to do that and keep it this clear before. So that was a pretty good strategy. So we've got our elevated bucket with our final product and assortment of clean bottles out here. And we'll just use our siphon system. Fill up our bottles. I enjoyed making it, and I enjoy drinking it because it's homemade. It's pretty neat. I hope you enjoyed watching the video, and if you were lucky enough to get one of these bottles, I hope you enjoy that too. Oh baby. Oh, I don't know if this is all gonna fit. Need a bigger pot. It smells so good. Since we're happy with the flavor, we're just gonna go ahead and add some sparkaloid. Give me just a sec. Give me just a sec. Since we're happy with the flavor, we're gonna go ahead and add our sparkaloid. Is what I use for the clearing or fining. Since we're happy with the flavor, I'm gonna go ahead and add the sparkaloid. Maybe next year we'll add a little less syrup and reduce the alcohol content. But hey, after you drink the first glass, you're gonna be very warm indeed. It's just a little hot right now. It's a little strong. Yeah.